coffee, then I'll go. Thought that I'd just drop by and let you know that I'm leaving town tomorrow. I'll cause you no more sorrow. I'll just have a cup of coffee, then I'll go. I brought the money like the lawyer said to do. It won't replace all the heartaches I've caused you. It won't take the place of loving you, I know. I'll just have a cup of coffee, then I'll go.
Good morning, Colombia, and all other points of the earth. Welcome back to the channel, Grand Colombia, and welcome to Coffee Time Live every Sunday. I think everything's working. Somebody send me a thumbs up, would you? No echoes, hopefully. Okay, I got a lot to talk about today. First, sent in early again, Yuka, thank you very much. He sent it through the website. Chad, good morning. Coffee, blackberry juice, I already had my coffee. Yuka, hello and thank you. Mike from Armenia, Colombia. We got to get you on here. Maybe next week. It's been a crazy week for me, and I know you've been busy, but we got to talk about your dentist appointments and various things that you've been doing. So, Judy, good morning. Chad, well, I appreciate the thought. Audio good. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. William, how you doing? Your house is starting to look really awesome. Nice furniture. Really nice furniture. I'm afraid to ask how much. Hugo, good morning. How you doing? Nice comment on that video. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alejandra, oh, you should be here with me. What else we got? EM from Miami. Howdy. Henry, how you doing, Henry? Yeah, you could say that. If I say that, it's going to sound like some kind of foul mouth, bad language or something. C. Burnell, good morning. Hope everything is okay with you. Take the plunge. Very good video. Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to do that video for quite a while, and somebody who's been watching for a few years posed a couple questions that caused me to take that from 4th on my to-do list and move it up. I've covered those topics somewhat in the past when I did a series. It's in the playlist of how to be an expat. And I did a series of 3 or 4 videos about how and why and where, making choices. But I hadn't really done one as comprehensive as that. I was trying to think of all the issues that you have to contend with, depending on who you are and your personality. Fortunately for me, I'm immune to 3/4 of them, but not all of them. If you haven't watched it, you might want to watch. Robert, good morning. Buenos dias. And Robert, I appreciate it. I'm seeing here you sent me a tip, and thank you. And also Chris, thank you. I appreciate that. Bill from upstate New York. That's where I'm from, where the temperature was -8 yesterday. And I can imagine the wind chill was probably like -15. Still have 4 years to retire. sometimes there's ways to do it sooner. And I see Stream Elements is running now. It wasn't running earlier. And so there's the Chris notification, which I can see it popped up on the screen, so that's good. Chad, very good on expectation management. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I got a lot to cover today. Lots. First of all, today it's sunny. I'd say it's warm. It's not, I mean, it's in the 70s, but it will be a warm day. You know, I can tell it'll probably, get to 80, maybe 82 degrees today. We've had a couple days, in the low 80s recently. Somebody was trying to tell me in a video a while back when I was talking about temperatures, and I don't remember the temperature now, but the all-time high, as far back as the records go in Armenia, it was, I think it was like 86 or 87 degrees. It wasn't 90. And he's saying, well, I was here 2 years ago and it was 90 degrees. And I know because it was on my phone. And the phones, they don't function. That's why you don't see that feature on hardly any phones. As a matter of fact, I think all of them stopped doing it. There was only a few models that did it because the heat from the phone affected those sensors. So I looked at, and I knew that because there was a time, because it used to be really difficult to get temperature information. So I looked up to see what I could do, and there's all kinds of articles about what a disaster that was. So anyway, good try. People are always trying to catch me, and I make an honest mistake. I don't mind, but when I know for sure something, it's like, nah, you're not going to catch me. Con gusto, with pleasure. Originally New Yorker from Long Island, living in Texas for years. Hopefully soon to Colombia. It's a great place to come. It's certainly a good option. Coleman, how you doing? West Palm Beach. Yeah, you can't get out of the country right now, but I'm going to talk for a minute about the topic we're not supposed to talk about because things are lightening up. I'm in Austin, packing my bags too. Yeah, you're supposed to be down here, aren't you? Okay, first of all, there was a scientific report, for whatever it's worth, but it got me excited because there's a product that I love that's gotten so difficult to find. But they say that if you catch the C word and if you eat these things in pretty good amounts at the beginning, that as soon as you see symptoms, that it makes it really mild, and in some cases it can just kind of dissipate it. Blueberries, strawberries, and here it comes, licorice. Oh, I love licorice. But it seems like the whole world, for some reason, has decided that it's a foul thing, and it's almost impossible to find anymore. So maybe this will bring it back. But the number one thing on that list was licorice. It's a natural. I don't know. It really messes with COVID. You eat the licorice and they run screaming, jump out of the pores of your body. Rob, hello from Honolulu. Yeah, you're having a time there. And I really appreciate you sending me those clips. I do watch them. Sometimes I'm busy. I watch them later. I don't always reply, but all I could think of was Magnum PI. Okay. I did a couple Skype calls this week. I really enjoy doing the Skype calls because, one, I get to speak a lot of English, and outside of every Sunday for this, I don't get to speak a lot of English, and you'll see me sometimes where I just can't, what is that word in English? I forget. And so that's always good. And in this case, both of those Skype calls, they seem like really nice people. So it's not always the case. And, I actually look forward to maybe meeting them sometime. So there's that. What else I got? Oh, I'm a shill for an insurance company now. Here, right there. I'm a shill. I've been digging to find, because you guys keep asking me, well, what's good to get insurance for the couple months while I'm doing the visa process? Who's good for doing that? And so I started digging around. I get those. That's a question. That's a common question I get asked a lot. So I start looking around, and I saw that there's specializations, and if it's not what they specialize in, things tend to be a little high price. So if you're a backpacker, a certain company, is probably the best for you. If you're traveling from here to here to here, another company might be the best for you. If you're looking for something like coming to Colombia or Ecuador or Peru or wherever, and you plan on being there for 2 or 3 months, what insurance is good for that? And these guys seem like it seems like this is really good. So they had an affiliate link, so I signed up on it. You're supposed to get, I think, like a 10% discount on my link. And depending on your age, the price was pretty reasonable. So if you're thinking about it, the link is on my website. And give me feedback. And if you have any problems, I've actually talked to a few people that have used them. But if I hear of any problems, I'll stop shilling for them. I'm supposed to, if you buy a policy, I'm supposed to get like 5% of the policy or something like that. There's all kinds of rules and exclusions, but mostly, well, entirely, this was motivated because I'm tired of saying I don't know when people ask. So there's that. All right. Am I missing anything here? Good morning, Tommy. Good morning. If you get a student visa, can you get a cedula? Yes. Always look forward to your videos, Scottish man. Age 61, 33 years in Cali. Oh, you like the heat. Robert, I've seen you on these videos before. I didn't know you were living in Cali. JP and LP. Good morning from beautiful Portland, Oregon. It used to be, maybe it still is. I don't know. Marshall's from there. Okay. First, I'm going to talk about the unmentionable topic. And then I'm going to talk about inflation, because today, it's been coming up a lot, and I've actually got some information, and I went and checked my various apps for purchasing. I talked to several local people that are friends of mine, got their feedback, and so now I feel like I can actually say something with confidence. But first, the unmentionable, which is becoming mentionable, and surprisingly, in Facebook and YouTube, but things are changing. You probably already know that in England, they just announced recently, this past week, that all restrictions, mandates, masks, everything, distancing, it's gone. It's out the window. Everything's back to normal. No vaccine push, nothing. Yesterday, I believe, Ireland announced the same thing. In the United States, you may or may not know this, but after the Supreme Court, a federal court took on a case, and they ruled that no federal mandates are constitutional. So they're banned. But the interesting thing in the United States is that up until just a couple days ago, all COVID cases were required by the federal government to be reported. So it would go to I believe the CDC was keeping the data, but I'm not sure. I read it, I don't remember. But there's a data keeping source. So all statistics about COVID. Well, they just decided a couple days ago, there's no more COVID reporting. The government will no longer put out daily information on COVID because they won't have the information, because they don't want it anymore. So that's kind of interesting. So 2 things about this. And one of those two is related to Colombia. Interesting thing about the new variation, the Omicron. The argument has been all along that, okay, the vaccine worked pretty well for the Alpha. And I don't know statistically, if you look at the stats, it's hard to argue that it didn't. You can argue other things about it, but it was pretty effective. Then Delta comes along, and it was like flip a coin whether it would do anything for you or not. But the constant, argument was, well, go ahead and get it, because if not, you're going to give it to the people that are vaccinated because they're not fully protected. And, don't be selfish and don't try to kill other people. And if you get it, it's supposed to lessen the symptoms, and where you might have died, maybe you won't die. Okay, but there was some truth to that argument by the data, whether you like it or not. I don't care about the politics of it. There was some truth to that argument. However, along comes Omicron. It's not true anymore. As a matter of fact, the vaccines are no longer effective, as stated by WHO, CDC, and why England threw this out. So, that's real information. It's no longer effective. It no longer diminishes anything. And with the Omicron, it's so weak that unless you're in that end of life, demographics, 85 and above, 20% of deaths were people 85 and above with other health issues. 80% were 65 and above with other health issues. So you're greater than 99% chance of being okay. And if you fell into the, that point whatever percent, only 20% of those were at risk for most people. So I think now with Omicron, where it's like all these previous stats are kind of out the window, you're seeing a lot of changes. Now, how's that going to affect Colombia? Well, I'm hoping that Colombia will reevaluate. Now, the good news is I'm not affected by any kind of vaccine mandates or whatever. I haven't got it, but as I've stated before, I'm not really opposed to it. Now I kind of am, because what's the point of getting something that's not going to do anything when the guy from Pfizer even said that it's not doing anything and they're working on something new. But, so, all right, so there's that. But here, it's only really for, the big events and, things that I don't really take part in. And so it doesn't really affect me either way. But I'm hoping that they just kind of drop the whole issue soon because of the latest information. And I think they probably will. But anyway, I don't know. But that's the latest that I can give you on that. Hopefully I never talk about this again. Now let's talk about inflation. What is going on here? What's going on with you guys? Catching up on the chat. Okay, inflation. I've told you that when this topic came up some months ago, I said, well, I'm not really noticing much. I see a couple things, like my eggs went from 6,500 pesos for a dozen to, I don't know, 7,500 or something like that. And it really hasn't had any effect on me. However, after the first of the year, it feels like it's kind of snowballing. So I checked with a couple of people I know, a couple of friends. Alejandra, what is this? I read news that in Medellin they're no longer going to require the vaccine. I thank you. I appreciate it. And I know whatever she says is going to be the truth. So I think it's probably going to go that way. I mean, what is the point of putting all kinds of energy into something that there's no point? Australia should kind of wake up. They should be ashamed of themselves. But anyway, back on inflation. HD, you're coming tomorrow. Welcome back. Back on inflation. So anyway, I looked up what was inflation like in 2020 and through most of 2021. And what is it typically? Now you get your highs and lows over the years, but what has it typically been over the last 3 or 4 years? And it came out to about 2.5% annual inflation. You know, it's pretty reasonable. There's nothing out of line with that. And that's always reflected in those little incremental increases in bus fare and taxi fare and things like a lot of things never seem to increase. But I just bought eggs and it went from 6,500 to 9,500. Now that's pretty significant increase. You know, that's like what, 50% jump? And I don't remember a lot of prices on things I bought a year ago. And also because the dollar exchange rate has been the way it is, I've been probably insulated by some of the inflation going on. But here's the deal. Right now, the inflation as of this year, January, food has jumped 17%. Imports, and this is the big killer, imports, 148%. Now, imports are a lot of things. It's not just, you know, your stereo or something. Imports are a lot of things. And so if imports have 148% jump, that's going to affect your food prices. Not that your food is imported, but to process the food, even the farmers, they have to buy things. That's where the effect is coming in. Now, interesting is that clothes and shoes are actually down 2.5%. Yeah, 2.5%. So that's kind of interesting. I notice that's just like an anomaly. I'm not sure what that's about. Last September, so just a handful of months ago, inflation was at 4.5. So it was typically 2.5. It jumped to 4.5. Beginning of January, it was at 5.6, and now it's running at 7% annual inflation. That every month can affect what that is, but it's definitely trending up. I'm sorry. No, it's Colombia is not at 7%. Colombia is at 5.6%. I apologize. I just misspoke on that. So it was at 2.5 in September. It was 4.5, and now it's at 5.6. So that's for everything. Now the food is 17%, imports 148. Those are the biggies. Other things like rent and all that, there's some inflation on it, but it's not all that out of line as compared to, you know, the typical highs and lows, and then the shoes. The inflation here is at a 4.5-year high. So 4.5 years ago, it actually spiked to greater than what it is now. The concern now is that it won't just be a spike, that how long will this carry and will it keep increasing through the year? No one knows. I will give you my guess for whatever that's worth. Don't put any money on it. My guess is that it's going to go up some more because we're affected so much by imports, and it's going to level off. Some of it is affected by what goes on in Europe, what goes on in the United States, to a lesser extent what happens in Canada, because economies are somewhat intertwined. Colombia does a lot of trading back and forth with Europe, US, and Canada. And so because that has such an impact, it'll depend on that. Now, the 7% that I mentioned, that's what the U.S. is in January, a 7% increase. But the real killer in the U.S. is gasoline prices. I don't know if you know this, but up until this last year, the U.S. was making enough gasoline to take care of itself, and now the oil's being bought from Russia. Funny, you know, so the oil's doubled in price and it's being imported. So you got twice the price and that money is going out of the country. In the United States, inflation operates primarily on the cost of oil because so many things are involved with oil. It's not just gas guzzling cars. I mean, you know, the clothes that you wear, the shoes that you wear, everything that you deal with practically is petroleum based. And so you're having that issue plus, you know, the supply chain issue. So, and it kills me when they say, well, you know, you're having inflation as a result of the economy doing so well. I mean, come on. People aren't that stupid. We're having inflation because of oil. And it was real nice when the U.S. was self-sufficient. It's unfortunate that it is no longer. And that is affecting a lot of the world economy. In Colombia, if it weren't for the cost of imports in general, the inflation here wouldn't be that big a deal. And historically, Colombia has had some pretty high inflation, particularly back in the late 70s, and as did most of the world. So it's giving it perspective, it's not horrible. The real problem comes in if you're here and you're from Colombia, you're living in Colombia, and your wages, whatever your wages or whatever your income is, and now you've got to spend for food 17% more. You know, that's gonna take a toll. That's not a sustainable thing. You know, people are going to really slow down on buying, and that's going to hurt the economy. So it's not a disaster yet. It's potentially could work its way to one, but there are ways out of it. And one of the ways would be to end all the restrictions of people coming here, because tourism is a good part of the economy. So that's all I got on the unmentionable topic and inflation. And let's get to the questions. It's Q&A time. It's time to start asking your questions. Remember, fork, then ask the question. Okay, let me go back through here, work up your questions for me, you know, and or comments, and nothing in Colombia. Well, the 65 to 95, that didn't happen all at once. It was 65 that, you know, like week after week, and then it went up to like 75. So, I mean, it's been over a course of months, but the recent jump, I think, was about 1,500 or 2,000 pesos. So I would say, yes, that's a rapid increase, but that's not an increase really from 65. That's from, you know, more like 75, 8,000. Prices are rising big time. Food, especially potatoes, were 800 pesos a pound now. Yeah, potatoes, you know, it depends on what potatoes you buy. Potatoes that are coming from Chile and Peru are pretty, you know, they're pretty pricey. If local farmers, if you go to the local carts or something like that, it's considerably less. As a matter of fact, it's very similar. You're seeing a lot of local vendors trying to, I think they're afraid to raise their price because they want to lose sales, and you're seeing a lot of those prices, you know, kind of hanging in there. But the ones that are doing that, they're not going to be able to hold out because you can't sell and lose money. So egg, milk, bread, everything. Yeah, yeah, bread's gone up some. Not horribly, but it's gone up some. True today, untrue in a month. That's going to be, I know, 20 years now. But that's true. And everything about an economy in every country, you can say that. Colombia's economy, it doesn't mirror, but it does reflect the world economy as a whole, primarily Europe, United States, and to a lesser extent, Canada. So what goes on there usually will start to show its effect here. And if it's during reasonable times, it's almost a more of a leveled effect. So it might spike somewhere, and here it doesn't really spike, it just kind of creeps up. But you never know. I mean, that could be different on, tomorrow. So all right, what do we got? I've got some things that aren't coming up here for me. What's up with that? There's chats there. Damn. My on-screen app that shows everything, and I can click on like such and show it. It seems like it just stopped. Okay, so let me look at this other one. Look away. Hold on. I actually have 3 versions of chat here, plus you got the one on the screen, but that's too small for me. All right. Wow. There's been a lot of stuff up here. Chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect. Okay, so it disconnected and never reconnected. Okay, thanks for a bit of economic info. Pricing, you're welcome. Coleman, as of Saturday, the U.S. is requiring Mexican and Canadian truck drivers to be vaccinated. I have so much I could say about that, but I'm not going to. Tommy, Green New Deal, what that's going to be. Yeah, well, it didn't pass, so don't worry about it. The Fed printing trillions, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. The last one sounds really great to me. What, the ticking time bomb? What about coffee price? How much is it up to in Armenia? I haven't seen the coffee. I bought coffee 2 weeks ago. I'll usually get a couple pounds and keep it sealed, and I got a vacuum container for the ones that I open. So I buy when I go there, because I can't buy it in any place but one location, and I don't really have reason to go there for anything else. So I'll buy a couple bags of it, and it was the same price as it's been all along. So that may change, but I haven't seen it yet. And the Cafe Candio, the bag, that's been 23,000 pesos as long as I can remember. And I did see it when I was looking on the app, and I was looking on Exito and Olympica and several others, Super Inter. I'm looking at different things. And I saw on Exito that coffee's still at 23,000 pesos. So I don't see that the coffee's gone up yet. Okay, EM, are you feeling any of these inflation rates? I feel like Armenia is ways away from Medellin, where inflation seems to be more immediate. Well, first of all, in Armenia, things are much cheaper in general than Bogota and Medellin. Now, Bogota, I will put a caveat here. If you're in Bogota and you live there and you know where to shop, there are places you can find deals. So when I say that, I'm saying if you go to the mall, if you go to Exito or Olympica or whatever, prices are higher there than here. The cost of living is about as good as it gets in Colombia, which is one of the reasons a lot of Colombians retire to Armenia. Now, am I feeling the rates? When the exchange was running 3,600 for $1, and now it's been running closer to 4,000 for $1, I mean, that's actually covering up what those increases would be. So right now, I'm not really affected by it. Now, I'm losing that benefit, but, you know, and I'm grateful it's there, but I personally, I can't sit and say, honestly, that it's having an effect on me yet, outside of knowing it's there, the psychological effect that you're paying too much for something, but then I'm getting more money than I usually would. So, okay, what else we got? Wonder why the connection broke. It was weird. Which Rappi card do you use to pay bills, debit or credit? Well, the Rappi card, I only have one Rappi card. It's the credit card they sent me that I told you guys about a while ago. It's that card, very sparse. All you get is a little Rappi mustache. Oops. And on the back side, they don't put any numbers. If you want the numbers, you have to go to the app, and then you'll see the account numbers and like that. And that's not even the last 4 digits. That's just some kind of identification number. I don't get it. But if you use it, it's got that chip. You put it in, and it works that way. And if you go online, you can just use the digital card. I don't use that much. If I do a rental car, if towards the end of the month I'm running out of money, I might use that for groceries or something, but I don't use it that much. And as far as I know, they don't really have a debit card. I've never seen one offered. But what happens is your U.S. card, I have a Capital One debit card, often does not function on websites. For example, if I wanted to pay a movie star bill on their website, it won't accept my U.S. card. So that could be an issue. And that's how I originally got Rappi. So with a Rappi account, it'll accept the U.S. card. So what I do is once or twice a month, I will take money from my debit card, which I connected to the Rappi account, and I will transfer money into the Rappi account. So now I've got pesos in cash, and the transfer is the actual exchange rate. So I got pesos in cash sitting there, and then if I decide I'm going to, let me order in a hamburger, you know, it'll just deduct it from that account. Now, when you pay Rappi, you have the option. I could pay with my debit card from the U.S., I can pay out of the Rappi account, or I could pay with a Rappi credit card. There's a financial exchange called PSE, and so most of the bills that I pay actually go through the PSE account, and that works off of Rappi. Now, I don't know if that makes sense to you. I'm explaining it the best I can. It sounds complicated. It's actually pretty simple. It gives me the best of all worlds. I go to the ATM and I'll get cash just so I have cash around in case I need it. But most of my life is done through the Rappi account. I'll pay my light bill, my water bill, my electric bill, shopping very often. I'll do it that way. Okay. I watched a good documentary on Colombia. It tweaked a question on water resources. How clean is drinking water throughout the country, like chemical use, fluorine, chlorine? We have no issue here at all. If you live in the South, you'll have an infrastructure issue, a plumbing issue, but the water itself going into those old pipes is good. If you're in the South, you want to drink bottled water. It's like $1.50 for a big 5-gallon thing of it delivered to your door. I have that here just because when I came to this house, I was kind of unsure, but it turns out the water's perfectly fine here. There are some places, but the Coffee Triangle, water's pretty good. So what you have to be concerned with mostly is where you're living, what kind of infrastructure, what kind of plumbing they got, in that city. What like your reporting. Please remind me. I don't, sounds, I apologize. It's hard to read this thing the way it is. This disruption here. Everything is getting too expensive. What the hell, Alejandra? Yeah, we were having that talk yesterday. I think up until January, I think people might have noticed it, but it wasn't having that much effect. But after the new year, where a lot of things would hit through its normal course, so you get that, plus, if they're hitting at a higher amount, and then other things start hitting that, it's just been kind of waiting in the wings. So, I could see where in some cases it might feel like all of a sudden in January you got an avalanche of price increases. There's also a nice SSA cost of living increase this year, which should be helping offset the inflation you might otherwise feel in Colombia. Yeah, that's true. Alejandra, how has the inflation been for your pizza business? Victor, thank you. I appreciate the contribution very much. I'll stretch it, I promise. I used to buy a pound of tomato for 1,100. How can I open a Rappi account? Could I transfer money from my Chase savings account? Just download the app. It's available in Apple or Google's Play Store, whatever it's called. Just download the app and go through and put your information. Chase, I believe, is okay. It's not a bank I recommend because where Capital One works for most everything, other banks, it's hit or miss, but I think Chase is okay for the Rappi, but I'm not sure. I don't have Chase, so I can't tell you for sure. Give it a shot. I couldn't, Andromeda, I couldn't read what you had, so I think you're trying to clarify something, but I couldn't read part of that sentence. You'd have to see this to understand. What I'm reading off of isn't really designed for me to read off of, clearly. It's kind of an issue. How do you think rents and real estate prices are going to increase, or do you think they're going to increase dramatically due to inflation? Is there enough real estate inventory to cover the demand? Well, it will certainly have an effect. In those statistics, it's a very low amount right now, and it has been. I think it was only like less than the typical. I think it was like 1% or something. There wasn't a big effect, but that encompassed commercial real estate, home, a lot of things. I don't think it's a huge issue. I think what's more of an issue, and this came up on one of the Skype calls, and you need to be careful of this, is if you're coming here and doing the investment visa thing, and you're transferring money from the U.S., which takes a while, and you have to have a special attorney, and it goes to a special bank. It's kind of cumbersome, but you're buying real estate. If the person that you are buying that real estate from gets a whiff of you doing it for the financial investment, there's a real good chance you're going to get hosed a huge amount of money, thousands of dollars. So be real careful of that. If you're buying, you might even want to do it through a third party and to make sure that you're getting the right price. Now, if you're not doing investment visa, I think you're okay. But if it's investment visa, they feel that they've got leverage. So you want to be real careful with that. Late in today. Oh, Craig, how you doing, Craig? Did you comment on the proposed visa changes discussed on the DC Born Rob channel from the lawyer? I I didn't look at that. I didn't comment on it because just like last year when people jumped out and did videos on proposals, proposals don't mean a damn thing. There's proposals all the time. And the visa lawyers, particularly out of Medellin, play those up. You got to go now because when these changes come through, and it's a sad state of affairs. I'm not a big fan. I'm not going to say this is all the attorneys, but some of the more known attorneys working out of Medellin specializing in you guys. You're getting scammed in a lot of cases. I had somebody send me an email with the letter from the lawyer, and I'm looking down through, and based on the visa he's getting and the information, first of all, he threw in some of the things of the proposal, which aren't real. You know, if he's doing the thing right now, it's not real. Second of all, he's from the U.S., and the lawyer is telling him about all these certification apostilles he's got to get, when in reality, for that particular visa, if he was just using a routine visa agent, they do that for you because it can be done in Bogota at the U.S. Embassy. And a visa agent includes that in the price. And, you know, the lawyer's saying, you got to go chase after this, and it's going to cost you, and then you got to go back to the U.S. to do it. And it simply wasn't true. But he's building it up to look like it's so cumbersome to justify his price, which is 3 times what a visa agent would charge. And it was kind of, I won't say it was lying, but it's kind of sleazy to, you know, base the impression of what you have to do on proposals that don't exist. Well, the proposals exist, but the laws don't exist. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I don't comment. I see those things, and I don't. If they're proposals, it means nothing. You know, they just proposed to kill the filibuster, but didn't happen, did it? So, you know, you could work yourself up into a heart attack over it, but it never happened. So what's the point? You know, it's the same on these things. So, yeah, this proposal, they tend to hesitate on doing things that will cause people to not come. They want people to come. And so you've got a good portion of the government that opposes any kind of things that are going to put up restrictions or barriers. There's been a huge fight over this COVID stuff, you know, and that's why you see, you know, one day it's there, next day it's repealed, and it's because a lot of people just don't agree with this stuff. They need the economy. Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Well, you know, Craig, you've been around long enough. You probably know what I'm going to say before I'm going to say it. And I'm not gonna. I don't watch a lot of other YouTubers, although I'm getting really hooked on Afro Guajira. I mean, it just cracks me up. If I want 7 or 8 minutes of a smile on my face, all I have to do is look up and see if she's done a video lately, and it just cracks me up. And I really love right now that she's back in her home of origin, which is a really rustic, original, you know, kind of one of the more poverty-stricken areas in all of Colombia. And I appreciate that she's not embarrassed of where she comes from. As a matter of fact, you know, you see her dancing around doing an outside shower, and she's pointing at things that, you know, from the outside you might look and go, oh my God. But I get where she's coming from because, as you know, that know me, I grew up dirt poor. I mean, hunting squirrels for food and getting water out of the well. And, you know, we had an outdoor outhouse, which is kind of tough in upstate New York where it's -8 degrees. You know, it was not the easiest life, but there were a lot of great things about it that I would not exchange for anything. And so she's there talking about her little town of, you know, poverty and people drinking too much. On the other hand, they'll party at the drop of a hat. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody helps each other out. She had one where they're showing this beat up old Renault that's all cut up, the back's cut off it, so they're using it as like a makeshift pickup truck. They're hot wiring it to get it to run. And the interesting thing was the thing purred like a kitten, and this thing is like, 40 years old and has been through the ringer, but it's running sweet. And, I love about Colombia how creative people are. I've shown it in a few videos, like this homemade, what was it, a sugarcane squeezer for the juice. This guy, he threw together a bunch of odd junkyard parts, and this thing worked really well. Some of it was carved wood. It's fascinating, and I love that. And so her videos have really been entertaining me. So if you get a chance to check them out, it'll put a smile on your face. The lawyer, Alan, actually suggests that people wait a while to see how the new rules are implemented. Does that make sense? I mean, there's rules right now. The rules are fine. And the proposal will actually require a couple things more. So why wouldn't you do it now instead of waiting until something that may happen that might cause you to do a little more? I don't get it. I do get it, but I would turn and go find a visa agent and just get it done. If you watch your latest video, is that the one with the iguana? I did see that, and it was quite funny. And yeah, it's obvious that she was playing it up a little bit, but if you understood that old woman there has a nasty mouth, but it's hilarious, and she showed really well. There's throughout Colombia, as you get lower middle class and down, part of the entertainment of life is sex talk, and she was showing it, to its fullest glory. This old lady that was, cooking, or maybe it was even her restaurant, and it was just hilarious what she was saying, but it was also not unique to her. It was very representative. Okay. I had to change the sales method because prices are changing a lot, and it doesn't help me. Oh yeah, Alejandra, she's having some real issues around it. Imagine being thrown a curve like every day, and it's just one more thing that's working against her. Africa here absolutely cracks me up. Where does she get her energy? I don't know. I'd be afraid to actually be around her, to meet her. It would just exhaust me. But for a 7 or 8 minute video, I love it. Afro Guajira is worth supporting. I completely agree. I want to see the old Renault. Whose channel is that? It's Afro Guajira. You could just, if you look at the chat comment, or the comment just above yours, just put that name into YouTube and it'll come up, and be prepared to laugh. Now, I will tell you, if she's got a live, they kind of suck. I can't watch her live because they're just such horrible quality. The sound, they're just terrible. But the videos that she actually does and edits, and I think she does a really good job. Nothing for me that she does has really been good information for me, but if you're not familiar with Colombia, she's very good at getting good information. But for me, it's because it's so entertaining. Link to see Renault. Not following. What's the name of her blog? Well, it's a YouTube channel, and it's the Afro Guajira. One word, and just like I said, go up at the comments, 3 or 4, and you'll find it. Um, what else we got? We got anything else? Oh, let me go back here. I'm doing something while we're on here, so if I seem distracted, it's because I am. Taking a minute to see if I can get that chat to return. Yes, it came back. Okay, the name of the blog, I put it up on the screen. So I'll leave it there for a minute. All right, so we're coming up on an hour. I want to mention, well, first of all, the apartment is getting kind of booked out. I mentioned it last week. I don't remember today, but if you're interested, you want to get on it. But let me show you that. Okay, I see here how to support Alejandra. That I'm sure would be real nice. She doesn't have any kind of anything set up, but if you go to my website there and you click on contribution tab, it'll take you to a bank payment page. And you'll have choices, the Skype call, the monthly subscriptions that some of you do, and I really appreciate all of it. But there'll be a one-time payment, which you can do as many times as you want, but it's just like, I'm just sending whatever amount, you fill in the blank. If you do that, and in the comment area, denote it to be to her, I will make sure that she gets it. It'll take, it takes 3 or 4 days to clear, but as soon as it clears, it actually will go right into my bank. So as soon as it goes into my bank, I'll withdraw it and give it to her. And the website, I didn't realize, but there was an issue that the website was working fine, but it translates to an app for Android for your cell phone or tablet. And there was a problem. Some of the links were broken. So when you come up on the first page, you'd go to the contribution and the link, it just didn't work. It wasn't taking you there. So somebody pointed that out to me. So I went and got it, that's addressed. This is actually the one here, when you do it like Victor and Chris and Robert, when you contribute through the live, that actually goes through a PayPal account, which goes to my bank. But the regular one, just in general, it's on the website, and it's actually the Stripe, the banking gateway. So it's completely secure, and so that's the way to do it. And it wouldn't hurt if you shoot me off an email. There's my email. Let me move my logo down. Just to let me know, that it'll be coming through so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Not that I got a lot of banking going on, but I just want to be sure. And what is it? Bill's prediction. Gee, I don't know. What do you think it's going to be? Maybe if there was only a sign, maybe if there was some clue, if there was some way I could figure out, am I going to be for the Chiefs or am I going to be? Oh, look at that. Come on. I mean, truth is, who knows? Who knows on any given day? You just don't know. I think we're down to where everybody that's left are pretty damn good teams. I was shocked at the Green Bay result. I didn't watch the game, but I went to the NFL channel and took a look, and I looked at a couple 2 or 3 minute clips of the game. And I was kind of shocked. It looks like our special teams kind of gave away the game. I didn't expect the 49ers to beat them, but the 49ers also look pretty damn good. And the Bengals, less of a surprise. Obviously, the Titans were the favorite. I thought the Titans were kind of overrated, so I wasn't that surprised. But if we have the Bills and the Bengals in the conference championship, that would be pretty awesome. And then if we have 49ers against the Bills, or better than that would be Tampa Bay against the Buffalo Bills. Tom Brady again against the Buffalo Bills. How awesome would that be? Anyway, we're talking about Colombia. Who cares? What are your football picks today? Well, I kind of hope that Tampa Bay wins, and of course I want Buffalo to win. So Packers stunk it up last. I don't think they stunk it up. The Packers defense looked awesome in the clips that I saw. They looked really good, but their special teams, it seems like they couldn't get anything right. I mean, not only didn't get the punt off, but let the other team grab it. I don't know. It just, yeah. But I don't care. The only team I care about is Buffalo, and that's just because I've cared about them forever. The best managed and owned team in all of football forever. They're always the good guys, and I appreciate that. Maybe they suck year after year, but they don't take in woman-beating, drug-infected scumbags just so that they can, get a good player for a couple years that's going to come in and disrupt your whole team. They don't take those kind of guys. I was shocked to see the 49ers win. The analysts on Fox predicted how the game would end by a field goal. But Colombia is always a win. Yeah, for me, yeah. I certainly am loving it here. All right. It's been an hour. Last call for any questions. If you got any kind of non-football, Colombian-related questions, if there's any, I'll take one or two, and then we're just going to kind of end it for today. If you're just tuning in at the tail end, you can always go play this from the beginning, unless YouTube decides to pull it down because they can, They could demonetize me for absolutely no reason and keep the money for themselves. I mean, how sweet was that? Hi, everyone. How you doing? British Columbia. Okay, hey? I was talking to a Canadian fellow yesterday, and it was a very entertaining conversation, but he asked me, he says, could you pick up that I was Canadian? It's like, well, obviously. I mean, I told him, I said, about the only thing he didn't say was a strong a boot, but he did a soft version of it. I grew up in upstate New York. I spent a lot of my time in Canada. I lived on the border, Thousand Islands, for a while. I'm used to hearing that, and so you instantly know when a Canadian starts talking that they're from Canada. And they're not all that nice, but In general, they are. Do you know anyone that cough? I don't know. I have no idea what that means. Okay. All right. No more questions. So we're going to end it here. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Glad to know that we're almost flawless, except my chat decided to die, but that's the life in the fast lane. We'll see you next week. Ciao.